Just like, thank you, Isabella, logging in from, I forgot what town you're in.
Guayaquil.
Well, I can't even pronounce it. Guayaquil?
Yeah, Guayaquil.
Guayaquil.
Yes.
Guayaquil. Is that like native,
yeah,
like Indian?
From a native group, but it doesn't exist anymore.
Okay. So when I first contacted you, you said I should make a native Ecuadorian dish, but I really, really, really like baking. And I was like, well, the whole idea of this show is pick something you think is simple and share that with other people. And I don't think baking is simple. I love it because it's a challenge for me, but I'm going to try to keep up. I think it really does help recently that I got a scale, that things tend to be more accurate because it's kind of a little bit of a scientific thing.
And you made pizza dough?
It's like, I don't know, not really. So, what are we making tonight?
Cupcakes, chocolate chip cupcakes.
Ooh.
And I mean, the cupcakes are, I do think are simple. The other one, it's an apple nut cake. It's not too hard. But
Wait a second, for Fred's birthday, we're making a nut cake? You didn't know it was Fred's birthday?
No, I didn't.
I'm a nut, so that's perfect timing.
He's from California, so we're making a fruity nut cake.
Yes.
Oh, sorry about that, Fred.
And the recipe for the apple and nut cake, it's from someone from Guayaquil also. I don't know her, but she has a blog, and I really like it. So it's at least the recipe is from here.
Okay, why are we doing cupcakes instead of cookies? Because generally people make chocolate chip cookies.
I'm not good at making cookies. I think they're hard.
Me neither. I'm pretty good, but just like cupcakes, you don't have to worry about the shape and stuff. So I'm going to go down the list real quick here for the chocolate chip cupcake. We've got unsalted butter, plain yogurt, eggs, vanilla, flour, sugar, baking powder, baking soda. Don't do like me and mix those up. I do that all the time. Put the wrong amount of the other one. And then, what is this? This is chocolate chip cupcake. So chocolate chips.
Chocolate chips. Yes.
So, and then for the apple nut cake, we've got flour, baking soda, baking powder, vanilla, salt, cinnamon, some vegetable oil, milk, granulated sugar, brown sugar, eggs, apples, and chopped nuts. Oh, and you've got a caramel sauce, butter, granulated sugar, and evaporated milk.
That's for the caramel sauce. Yes.
All right. So let us get going here. So the first thing you say here is melted unsalted butter.
Yes. Well, first preheat the oven.
Oh, that is a good one, because if you don't preheat it, it takes longer. So let's see, what temperature?
Yes. Yeah, usually the mixing of everything for the cupcakes, it takes maybe a little bit less than half an hour. So I'll go turn the oven on also, so it's preheated. Usually the recipes say the oven has to be preheated for around 30 minutes. For the cupcakes, it's not that important, but for the apple cake, it's very important.
Okay.
That the oven is very hot, like for 30 minutes at least.
And what temperature?
It's the same one for both. 100. Oh, but I wrote Fahrenheit also. 347 degrees Fahrenheit. Maybe it's 350 there, but I just transformed 175 Celsius to Fahrenheit.
All right. So I have turned it on. That is one thing I have learned. Well, I'm trying to learn, both when you're cooking something in a pan and cooking something in the oven, how important it is to warm it up before. you put the stuff in it. So, all right. My oven has been started. And now Isabel has disappeared, so I don't know what to do next. I do know I have to melt some butter. But yeah,
Sorry,
I got this
turn on the-
scale. Oh, let me point it down here. All right.
Okay, so
I got
should I-
nervous, Isabel. You disappeared for a second and I didn't know what to do.
I went to turn on the oven. I mean, my Wi-Fi is not good in the kitchen. I'm not even my regular phone service, so I decided to do everything here in my dining table.
I think this is the third time I've used this cooking scale besides weighing mail. I mail stuff out. So, all right. So,
Okay, so in my country, we have this. This is actually double of what I need for the recipe. So I mean, for baking, you have to be like precise, but for the butter, I have never had any problem dividing it in half just with the, it's too soft.
so let's
I
see.
usually have this one, very firm, but for the caramel sauce, it has to be out of the fridge and very soft. Otherwise, it's more complicated to make the caramel.
Okay, good. I took it out a little while ago. It's still a little cool. So I will.
Yeah, if it's a little bit cool, it's no problem. But if it's very cold, it does complicate the caramel sauce. So I just unwrap it. And you can either melt it in the microwave or in a small pot on the stove. But if you do it in the microwave, just put it for around, it depends on the power of the microwave, but in mine, it's usually 10 seconds.
10 minutes.
And yeah, seconds. And I take it out.
Start a bomb.
Yeah, I know. And I kind of mix it because some parts are hotter than others. So I'll go put this in the microwave for 10 seconds.
So here a stick of butter is 113 grams, it says, or 4 ounces. So we're just under. Can you have too much butter? Now, the one thing I didn't buy on this, it said just a little bit of milk. It said, what did it say? It said 2 tablespoons of milk. And I was just like, I don't want to buy a whole thing of milk for 2 tablespoons. But I've got either evaporated milk or condensed milk. So I can add a little bit, hopefully.
Okay.
Yep.
If you're heating the butter in a pan or a pot, you have to stir it and make it in low.
Yeah, that's as low as I could possibly do.
Then, yeah, try to move it around so it doesn't boil.
All right. So, and then, so my butter is slowly melting, I guess.
Yeah, so I went for mine, and you see there are parts that are still like kind of solid, but the rest is pretty much melted and still hot. So 10 seconds is enough. You take it out and you just stir it. You can use a spoon, it doesn't matter. But I'm gonna be using this for later also.
All right.
Okay, so in baking, you usually put the liquids together and the dry ingredients together. So
I'll need 2
butter.
bowls.
The only solid that at least this recipe has in the liquids is the sugar. And how much sugar is it? 3/4 of a cup.
All right.
So,
Butter is on. See, I should have remembered with baking, always take your butter out like a half hour before out of the fridge, at least a half hour beforehand, so it's like room temperature.
yeah, it's better, but
Better
yeah,
butter.
You can, once it's already covering like the whole floor of the pot, you can increase the heat a little bit, but just be sure to stir it so it doesn't overcook. It just has to be warm. So you can do
So
that
in the
now.
US, we have two kinds of flour. We have all-purpose and we have self-rising. And so you want to use all-purpose because you're adding the
Yeah.
self-rising stuff.
Yes.
Oops. Let's see.
Okay, but right now it's the sugar or.
All right. That looks like sugar. Luckily, I have two. Sugar, 3/4 cup sugar.
Yes. I usually do this in a bigger thing, but it's okay.
All right, sugar is measured.
Yes, and you just.
All right, I'm already getting hot.
Yes, I think that's, if you turn it off and you stir the whole thing, I think it will melt.
All right. So you want me to put the butter and what else? All in one bowl?
Yeah, you can already put it in the bowl in which you're gonna make the whole mix, but
There's
I
that.
was just making time.
I'm
So
gonna
I have a huge
Save-
one because this is the one that I usually use for everything.
save that pan.
Okay,
Yeah,
so-
I've got two different cupcake tins. All right. I feel like I'm way behind already. So we're putting all the liquid ingredients together in.
And the sugar, yes, but never ever, because the butter is warm, never put the eggs right after you take the butter out of the microwave or out of the stove because it would cook. So I usually add the sugar first and then the yogurt.
So don't put the eggs right on top of the.
On
Unless you want-
top of the hot butter, no.
Let's see. 3/4 cup. So you don't even have to, this is like 3/4 cup and 3/4 cup.
Yes.
See, that's where you might,
For liquids, it's supposed to be better if you use the cup you're using, the glass, the big one made out of glass, or not these ones. These are supposed to be for solids, but so far I have not had any problem.
all right, 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Am I just going down the, well, I skipped the eggs already, but that's one thing I noticed in baking recipes. They do a pretty good job of putting them in order, the ingredients in order. I like that. Versus other recipes, I don't feel like they put it as much in order. Let's see.
Okay, so I have a question. I'm fashionably late. This
Yes.
is Lulu. Hi.
Hi.
So what are we doing in what bowls? You say all the liquid together, so that includes a cooled down liquid butter with the yogurt. That's a liquid or no?
Yes.
She said all the liquid and the sugar.
Yes. All the liquid
And then-
and the sugar.
But she
I
said
can
make sure you don't
imagine-
put the eggs on top of the butter because it'll cook because if it's warm.
Yeah.
Okay, so do that in a big bowl because then we're going to be adding the dry ingredients to it.
Yes.
Okay.
Make sure you
In
do a
baking,
teaspoon of something, not a tablespoon. I always mix those up.
Usually the dry ingredients go on the liquid ones. So
All right, so I'm just going down the row. Now I
the
need to
eggs
put 2
count
cups of
as,
flour.
call it as liquid. So 1.
Flour. This doesn't seem like a super precise recipe.
Super precise recipe. Yeah, that's usually baking recipes.
Well, I just see a lot of super precise ones they have. Instead of volume measurements, they have weight measurements.
Yes. Okay, so I already added the eggs and now I'm just stirring, but very softly, just to like mix everything in, not too hard because then we're going to use the mixer.
And I don't know, does everybody have a mixer? If you didn't have a mixer, what would you do?
If you don't have, you can use one of this, but it takes longer, but it's the same.
So let's see. I put,
Yes, you could use the whisk instead.
so now I need to put all the dry ingredients in this pot here, in this cup
Yes,
here.
but you have to, this is called a sieve, right? You have to sieve everything. At least if you're in a humid place, it's better if you sieve it because you want to avoid little balls in the mix.
All right, so let's see. We've already put the sugar in, so I don't have to put the sugar in again. Flour, baking soda, 2 teaspoons baking powder. I don't know how many times when I first started baking, I mixed up the baking soda and the baking powder. Baking powder. 2, or mixed up tablespoons and teaspoons.
Yes, that I do. But now I know them by colors.
Colors?
I mean, my spoons are different colors.
Oh, yeah, mine are all metal. So I guess that's kind of smart. All right, let's see. Half a teaspoon. So precise. And make sure there's no lumps. And salt. All right. I've got everything measured except the chocolate chips.
Yes, the chocolate chips go at the end.
Well, maybe not. Let me get the salt to come out.
Powder 2. 2 teaspoons. Baking soda, half a teaspoon.
All right.
Okay, baking soda.
And since I already messed up and poured the flour in without sifting it.
It probably won't be any problem. Just be
It's
sure
probably,
to
yeah, well, whatever. Only I will know how bad it is.
I need scissors.
And let's see, this mixer has, well, where's my other one? Oh, I've got, see the hook, but where's my whisk connection? Here it is. So yeah, I've got two different things.
And
All right.
2.
So how's everybody doing? I feel like I'm way behind, but.
No, you're ahead of me.
What?
Yes.
How is that possible?
I'm just making the apple cake, so.
Well, I guess I could start chopping up the apples, huh?
Yes, because it takes a lot of time.
Let's see.
Okay, so let me just, before I start adding the sifted dry, let me just run through 3 eggs, a stick of butter melted, the sugar, which is what, 3/4 of a,
I thought
3 eggs.
it was 2 eggs.
Oh, but she's making the apple cake.
no, this is for the cupcakes. I put 3 eggs in. Is this
Nope.
supposed to be 2?
2,
So
yes.
you're looking at the numbers on the line. That's line 3, 2 eggs.
So
Yes.
what do I do now? Because
You enjoy the extra richness of the eggs.
okay, I'm good with that. So I can just keep going with the recipe?
I would try to take
Oh,
about
that's
an egg out of the
confusing.
mix.
3 eggs to you.
So I
No.
can't listen to everybody at once. What should I do at this point? Just start over or?
You cannot remove about an egg from the mix.
I can't because it's already with the sugar and the vanilla
Oh,
and oh crap. Okay,
it's how. Yeah, I mean, I was trying to think of a solution, but I don't know yet the chemistry behind everything. So I actually don't. But maybe you can go ahead with the 3 eggs. Maybe the mix won't be as it would normally be. I don't know if it would be a little bit more fair or if it would be softer instead. I'm not sure.
so I will continue with the recipe and then let you know how
There
it
you
turns.
go. I think well, I don't know. I'm not an expert, but of all the things that you could have messed up, I think that's the least. It'll be more fluffy.
Okay,
Yes,
so the
I
numbering totally confused me. So let me get this straight. So I have 3/4 of a cup of the yogurt, correct?
Yes.
And then, yeah, so it's line 3, eggs, 2 units.
All right.
Mhm.
All right. Next time I will take all the numbers off.
Yeah, well, that,
Let's see. To get ahead here, Isabel, like what shape would the apples be cut? Are they just chopped fine?
It's just cubes. It depends on how, if you want to fill them more or less in the cake, you cut them bigger or smaller. I cut them in cubes.
Did you also peel them?
I also what?
You peel the apples?
If I fill them?
You take the skin off.
Yes. If I peel them, yes, I do.
Okay. So,
Okay, it's gonna be a
All right.
bit noisy.
oh yeah. Let me go ahead and do that.
I usually do half of the dry ingredients mix, have everything integrated, and then add the next half of dry ingredients.
All right. See how loud mine is.
Then the rest.
Oh, that's beautiful. That is so much butter. You can literally tell that it's got a lot of butter in it. Butter, eggs, and sugar.
For the apple cake?
No, this is still, I haven't started the apple cake.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. That is so fluffy. And then you can,
I mean, you just mix until everything is integrated.
I remember one mistake I used to make is I would mix things too much.
Yeah, no, don't overmix.
Nice and dry. All right. Now I have the choice of doing absolutely mini cupcakes. Look at these
Okay,
little
that's
cupcake
basically-
pins I got. They're like cupcake bites. So when I make brownies, this is what I use. But I usually, because usually when I make cupcakes, I make like tons of them. But this time I got the cupcake papers. I don't know. Do you use the papers?
Yeah, I do. I do. Okay, and then that's it. That's the batter. You only measure the cup of chocolate chips.
Oh yeah, I forgot to put chocolate chips. How could I do that? Okay, so when we go to the store in the US, we have the choice of two kinds: milk chocolate chip or semi-sweet.
These I think are semi-sweet.
I think I'll go.
I think.
I wish they had just pure dark chocolate.
Sometimes, depending on what I want, we have this brand here. I'm not sure where else they sell it, but they have bigger, like chocolate chunks or big drops of chocolate, and those
Oh,
are
yeah.
dark. They're not too sweet. So sometimes I just buy those ones and cut them or like aplastar.
Yeah, I absolutely love making brownie bites, and I add mint flavor to them.
Yes.
Yep. And then sometimes I'll even put brownies with chocolate chips in the brownies. So
my batter is really thick.
yeah.
Yes. It's thick.
All right. You're folding the chocolate chips in, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Just fold them
then-
in.
But
And
it's-
here I can get this.
Lulu, mine is thick but fluffy. Is yours thick but fluffy?
Yes, a bit.
It's like cookie dough, you know, where it's pretty thick. But then,
Not as firm. Let me see yours. Yeah, it's kind of.
I mean, it's pretty thick.
Mine's pretty thick.
I mean, mine is thick, but not as thick as that.
Not as thick as that. Should I add something to it? There's no milk or anything in this at this point. That's the other recipe.
Correct. Yeah.
Yes, this one only has yogurt. And then I just put the cupcake papers in and then the butter,
And then the what?
the mix.
Okay.
Don't.
I
fill
thought
it
you
to
said
the top.
you said butter, and I was like,
I
put more
did
butter.
too.
The batter.
So I never use these cupcakes papers. Is there any trick to like putting the stuff in them? The same
Like
as
what?
like whenever I do it, I've got a little can of spray here.
Oh,
I
no.
I spray them. That's how I do, because I don't know.
I always use the papers. You don't need any oil spray if you have the papers, because the cupcake will stick to the paper and not to the tin foil. I mean, to the.
And then also, I mean, a good way to serve it too with the paper.
Yes.
All right, so how much should we put in each one?
Yeah, I'm looking for my spoon. I don't know what I did.
I mean, I
used to take a spoon.
I have
and-
Fred's favorite ladle here, but I think that'll be too much.
Now's the time for your little teaspoon or
My little teaspoon.
So usually it's about halfway to maybe 2/3 because it expands.
Yes, I was going to say that. Don't fill it to the top.
So let
It's
me see if I just put a heaping tablespoon. Let's see. No, that
No, I use
I-
regular spoons.
so a heaping tablespoon is, look, it's about, I don't know, about halfway full. I don't know if you can see.
Should
Oh,
our
but yours
oven be
are mini
preheated?
cupcakes, right?
These ones are pretty deep. But no,
Are
I
we
guess you can.
preheating the oven?
Oh yeah, we preheated the oven a half hour ago.
To what?
350.
Yes.
Or what'd you say, 100 Celsius?
175.
175. All right.
I do like it when they kind of overflow a bit.
Let me,
So
can you hold one close to the camera so I can see how full you're doing them?
yes, mostly like that.
Okay, that's a lot more than mine.
Yes, but because I like when they have like a little overflow over the edge.
So mine is, I'm doing about halfway and you're doing about 2/3.
Yes.
How many cupcakes do you think this recipe will make?
My size 18.
Okay. So we'll see here.
It depends on the size of the eggs also, because if I manage to get bigger eggs, I can make maybe 20.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking the egg is not so horrible if you have more or less, because eggs come in so many different sizes. And then it also fluffs up. So,
Yes.
so basically we could put this in the oven and it's cooking while we make the other one.
Yes.
That's smart. So basically right when we're done making the other one, we'll have a cupcake to eat.
Yes. A warm one.
Fred won't have his fruity nut cake for a little while. How many times will that be funny for me to say, Fred? I don't know. He's being quiet tonight.
I'm okay with it.
But yeah, I was thinking we should do a cooking class where we just make sauces like chimichurri, and then I forgot how you say that sauce that Lulu turned me on to. It's like a
Which one?
Ivar.
how do you pronounce it?
Ivar.
Oh man, that stuff is so good. It's a roasted pepper, and this particular one was also eggplant.
Oh,
Sweet peppers.
I do like chimichurri.
And then
Yes.
I don't know, I think we'd have to probably come up with probably 3 sauces. All right. How's everybody doing?
Madly filling our cupcakes cups.
Madly?
Well, fast. I mean,
This dough is pretty sticky. It's not coming off my spoon very easy.
no, and mine.
Yes, I use spatula to help out. Yes.
There you go. Yeah, I'm going to use it. See, without making a big mess. So I tend to make, I mean, when I do my brownie mix, I make it really, I don't know, pretty liquidy. So it gloops in pretty good. Then I have to cook it a little longer.
I mean, recipes vary, right? Most of the recipes I have seen from in the internet, basically, they're more liquid. I don't know why this one is so firm, fluffy.
I mean, this is more like, I actually feel like this is a cookie recipe, because how the dough is, it very much feels like, so let's see.
I don't know. This is also a recipe from a chef from here. Okay, so I only have 2 of these, so I'll go and put them in the oven. And they have to be in the oven for 20 minutes.
All right, so I'm getting close to run out, but I'm gonna see if I can make 24 of them. 'Cause that's 2 pans. But, wait. Without making a big mess.
Okay, let me change this into something else.
But because I'm gluten sensitive, I don't tend to taste cookie batter, but a lot of people say they do. I wonder, it seems like, I guess when it's still cold like this, but then you're like eating raw egg, and I don't know.
I'll be back in a minute.
Let's see. I didn't look in the chat. I've been doing it. Is there any comments in the chat? Who's logged in? Got a few different countries here. All right, almost done. It looks so nice. I almost wanted to take a spoonful of this, but I don't know how good it would be for me. So I squoze this out to 24 of them. And like, yeah, that one looks a little low here. Let me see if I can scrape a little more.
Squoze, is that American for squeezed?
Oh, I think that's Southern for squeeze.
Squoze?
I think so. I spent quite a bit of my life down in Tennessee, so even though I was born in Connecticut, so I'm a Southern Connecticut Yankee. So, all right. So she said 20 minutes.
Yes, 20 minutes.
All right. So I bought one of these nice egg timers, brand new. And the other day, I went to clean it off, and I wiped off somehow every one of the numbers. This is like a month old. Look at that. I mean, like, well, I wiped about half of them, and I looked at it, and I was like, huh. So now I have to like go time it to put with a permanent marker. But this is an hour.
Got it at Amazon, you can send it back.
Yeah, that's true. I never do that though. I like, but I mean, it's nice stainless steel, but all right. I mean, it's pretty much useless.
It's probably a 3-minute max, an egg timer, right?
No, that's a 60-minute timer.
Oh, it is. Oh.
Yeah, I use this because Sunday mornings, I try to not use technology to just kind of disconnect. And that's when I do a lot of my baking. So it's just like, let's have a non-technology, because I do have on my phone, of course, a kitchen timer, except.
So I have a question real quick. I don't know how to turn my camera around. Do I have these two full?
Let's see here. Mine,
Do you have to what?
Do I have them too full?
I can't see.
Oh.
Oh, there you are.
Maybe a bit.
So, because of the extra egg, you think I should take some off? Because I did some extras like in this and in this.
I would just put a sheet pan on underneath it so it doesn't run over in the oven.
And then just see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe.
Or a big piece of foil or something.
But maybe you can spray the metal with oil, because
Sheet pan.
it could stick to it on the edge.
You ever did what do you call it? Like the whole cookie sheet, like one big cookie?
No.
Yeah, I used to do that. You just do the whole thing, and you make a sheet cookie, and then you take them out of the oven and you cut them real quick, and then you let them cool down, and they end up being, well, square cookies.
Oh, nice. No, I haven't tried it.
When you do a lot of them. So Where's my timer at? I haven't used my, I don't know.
Okay, I think I'm gonna start with. But this one's quick. Okay, I'm about to start with the apple one. Is it okay?
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so I haven't prepared this one as much as the cupcake recipe. So I don't know it by heart.
So,
Okay,
so it looks like you're starting with, well, I bought chopped nuts, so I don't have to.
yes, I don't have chopped nuts here. And how much is the chopped nuts? 120 grams.
But
Okay, let me clear this up a little bit.
let me look at participants.
Actually, put a towel so it doesn't slip anywhere.
I have a question about the apple nut cake. Would it, a 10 by 13 pan be good, or are you making a layer cake, or what?
Just
Oh,
a regular baking pan.
Yes, I used the one that has the hole in the middle.
Oh, like a
Oh.
bundt cake, or
Yeah,
Yes,
bunch.
that
angel
one,
food
that
cake?
one.
Angel
Okay.
food cake pan.
Pardon?
I get to break out my bun cake can?
Yes,
Like this
that
one?
Yes, I use that one. But
Which
today
one?
I'm gonna be
Which one is
trying
better?
the one on the left, the silver one.
Oh, let's see. This is my left, the silver one. Otherwise, I got this one. I can, if I have extra, I can make a little one.
It's good.
Yeah, this is a lot nicer because you get a lot more crispy surface. All right. So nuts are chopped. Let's see. So can I put all the dry ingredients in
Yes,
one bowl?
yes, I usually do as I did with the cupcake one. I put all the liquid ones in the big bowl because I'll be putting the dry ones into those. But in
Now,
this case,
do you think I need to wash that bowl, or you think it'll be okay? We just use it with the dough from the last one. How much will that mess it up?
I just took a towel and cleaned the other one.
Okay.
The one I used previously.
Yep. Just give it a little rinse.
Yes.
All right. But mostly.
And I'm really bad at cooking apples. Let's see how I do this one.
Okay. So should I cut the apples first, or just mix?
I mean, peel them first and then.
All right. I think part of why I don't like baking as much is I feel like there's a lot more equipment,
Yes.
and I have a very small kitchen, so all right. Peel the apples. Now, do you have a preferred type of apple? Like red or yellow or green?
Yeah, I mean, here we have one that's called golden something, but I couldn't find those this time. And the one the recipe suggested was granny apples.
Granny
Yeah.
Smith.
So
That's
golden.
the green ones. That's look like Orr's got.
Grannies are really good because they have a really good texture. My mom really likes grannies. She said because they stay good for, like, they hold a texture for a long time.
Yes, and when you bake them, they don't disappear. They're like firmer.
Right.
But they can be
Otherwise, what?
more on the sour side though, aren't they?
Right, yeah.
Yes.
And then otherwise, what? Jonathan's are good for baking. They hold texture. I think you were talking about Golden Delicious, maybe.
Yeah, that's a variety.
But the Golden Delicious really like disappear when you bake them. They're really soft.
Yes, they're very soft. But I kind of prefer those ones. Yeah, but these ones are good too. I mean, it depends. The recipe actually said it depends on your taste in apples.
So I'm from the South, and we have a dish called fried apple skins. You just get these apple skins and with just a little oil or butter, and you fry them, and then you put sugar on it to caramelize it, and you serve that as a dessert.
Yum.
Sounds delicious.
Now, I highly recommend washing the pesticides off the apples before you
Yeah, these were more.
should buy organic. But
I'm gonna need a cooler plate.
yeah. All right. I got gifted a whole box of apples from a friend of mine's mother's tree. So she actually she picked them, and let's see, sent it with her brother-in-law who works for me to my work, and basically, you know, hand delivered it to me. So so after we make, if I really like this apple cake, I'll make like 3 or 4 of them and give them out to a bunch of family and friends.
Yes.
So
I started making this one for Christmas last year.
like, it doesn't seem like a very complicated cake.
Yeah, it's not too complicated, but you have to peel the apples, cut the apples.
That's true. I mean, usually when I do apple, I don't peel them.
So I do
Oh, I guess how many apples?
6.
I got distracted here. I think I put enough out. Let's see. 4, 5, 6. These are small ones, so maybe I'll do 7. That's why I've got 7 out.
Yeah, the other ones, the ones I usually use are bigger, the golden something. And I use only 5 of them.
Has anybody ever tried to do that where you like peel the apple in a whole circle with a little knife? I think I feel like I did that when I was a kid. Try to like make one continuous peel.
Yeah.
But
I never
Anybody
succeeded.
ever had one of those little machines that you crank it and it peels the
Oh, yeah.
apple?
I have that when I'm doing a lot of applesauce. It cores it. Actually,
I have a spiralizer. I think it would do that, but I can't remember.
should I do one right now? I use this a lot because I make this time of the year, I make a lot of applesauce. So,
My mom used to say that if you peel it off in one piece without breaking it, then you can throw it over your left shoulder, and when it lands on the floor, you decide which letter of the alphabet it looks like, and that will be the first letter of the name of the guy that you'll marry.
that's so complicated.
I think she was just trying to get us to peel the apples.
Right.
Just trying to.
Back in the day when we didn't
Yeah,
have
young
much
girls are
entertainment.
always wanting to know who they're going to marry.
Yeah, back in the day. So this one had a bad spot, so I don't know if this will peel very good. So I can either, well, here, I'll do it. Let's see. Can you guys see this all right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to do the peel part. This little thing right here does the peel. I'm just going to core it. So this right here. But see, it spiralizes the apple. And then I end up with the apple core right there. So see, I can do a lot of apples. That was the best $22, brand new. That's what that cost. I usually don't like buying like extra devices just to have around the kitchen, but that one
is worth it.
Now, the one thing I do regret is I got the one with the suction cup instead of the clamp.
Yeah.
Because that over the years, I've had this many years, that rubber doesn't stick very good. I wetted it down really well. But
so I have a question about the apples. If I have a softer apple, it's like a Gala, should I make the chunks a little bigger?
Yes. So
And then another question is, I only have 2.5 apples. Is there any way I could make it more appley by adding something else instead of a liquid like applesauce or?
do you have any other?
No idea.
I have
More nuts.
more nuts. I have a peach in there and a mango, but I don't think those would work. Those are kind of wet.
I made a apple peach cake on Thursday. I made 2 of them, but I first made like basically into a sauce, an apple sauce, and then I just. But all right. I
had 2.5 cups of chopped apples. That's it. How about some onion?
Onion.
You always ask what shouldn't we put in there?
That's true. I haven't asked this time. What should we not put in? Although, have you ever had either garlic or onion jam?
Yeah.
I've had that. It was from somewhere in Wisconsin, maybe I got it. And it was basically like, if you've ever had really well done caramelized onions.
Have you got a can of applesauce, Lulu?
I do. I found a scant amount of blueberries I could throw in there. But yeah, I do have applesauce.
You could decrease the oil. Like sometimes people, when they're trying to cook low fat, they use applesauce instead of oil.
Or
okay.
a lot of people use applesauce instead of eggs for vegetarians.
Oh, that's right. It's eggs. It's not oil, I think. Yeah, mostly.
Oh,
I probably see it.
use applesauce instead of eggs or oil.
Okay, I gotta look at the recipe.
I mean, I think you're just gonna have more of a cake and less of apple cake. I don't know. Oh man.
And the cupcakes.
How about your guys's? How's your place starting to smell? Mine's starting to smell really delicious.
Yeah. Yep.
Let's see,
So
what's
are
the
we
time?
starting to assemble the ingredients for the?
5 minutes for mine. So she said all the dry ingredients in one bowl and all the wet ingredients in the mixed bowl. So you put the wet ingredients down first.
And then add the dry to the.
Well, she didn't say to add it yet, but I haven't mixed it. I haven't.
So in my biggest bowl, my mixing bowl, I'm gonna put the dry. So I gotta change this.
Oh, the other way around.
What?
Wherever you're going to mix everything, you put the wet first, so it's on the bottom.
But the apples and the nuts will be mixed with the dry ingredients.
Apples with dry.
All
Yes.
right. I probably should have like cut one without using this fancy machine to see how well. Well, this time.
Apple with the dry. And
Thanks
do we
for
put
reminding
it-
me about that, Fred. I would have. I mean, it's just. I'm putting away a lot of apples this time of the year. All right, so.
So I have a question. Do we sift the flour with the baking powder, baking soda,
And the salt.
and the salt?
Yes.
Yeah, I always forget to sift it, but that's really smart in in Lulu, in our humid environment.
My cupcakes are ready, so I'll go for them.
Mine says 4 more minutes. I probably should check and see how, because different locations. All right. I got one apple here. I'm gonna just cut up with the knife and see how well that does. All right.
Okay, 1 teaspoon baking soda. So it's equal portions of baking powder and baking soda.
Oh yeah, that's unusual. I usually mess up because they're so different. How do you tell they're done?
The toothpick.
Oh, dang, where's my, oh,
And the cupcake.
And does the
I
cinnamon
usually-
go in the dry as well?
Yes, the cinnamon goes in the dry as well. And the cupcakes, I just dip them on a flat surface to cool off before I take them out of the mold, and that's it.
all right, let me get the other one out. Oh. Well, I did spill one little chunk, so 1 chocolate chip. All right, let me set them out. Well, I guess I could leave them out here
I really
really-
don't know how to cut up.
to cool. All right, so to cut the apples, one trick I learned with cutting apples, if you cut it in half and then you just cut it on an angle and then on an angle the other direction, it gets almost all the what do you call it? And then you've got it all right there, and then you just take that little bit and then you've got the whole center out.
Wait a minute, the liquid goes in the big bowl first?
Correct.
Shit. Scheiße. Okay.
I was
Liquid. So this liquid is vanilla.
I always make that mistake because the dry has more volume, so I always tend to want to put the dry in first. But then it doesn't mix very well. If you put the wet on the bottom of the pan, it mixes a lot easier.
So this one calls for 3 eggs. Yeah.
Yes, that's what I said. This one has 3 eggs.
And so I can,
Take 1 egg out of the other one and put it in this one.
no, I was gonna,
It
maybe
looks
start-
like 11 eggs, Lulu.
Don't get me started.
Okay.
Do you think this is going to work with baking powder that expired in 2015? I don't bake very much.
You'll have to
I
put
don't
more
know.
of it.
Mine
There is a test you can do to see if your baking powder's still active.
What do? You ask it, are you active? Have you been working out?
I'd have to go online. It's like adding it to vinegar. If it fizzes and it's still good.
Mm.
So
I think I used it not too long ago and it worked, but I better buy some more.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Great.
or I'm using your applesauce you gave me as some.
gave you applesauce.
You gave me a thing of applesauce. See? It says applesauce 11/24, which I have no clue. Is that?
Well, that's the month it was made. November of last year.
It's delicious. Okay, so am I putting applesauce in place of 1 egg? And how much applesauce should I put in? And should I cut down some of the oil and put more applesauce in?
I wouldn't, I never cut up the butter or the oil because that gives the texture to the mix. So I'll probably
There's no butter in this recipe, so.
Yeah, it's oil.
So it's a whole cup of vegetable oil,
Yes.
and I
All
got.
right, so flour. All right, so first put the dry ingredients in here. So it says 250 grams. I'm gonna try to actually measure stuff because I never do that. Or weigh things.
That's a lot of oil.
Yes.
You want it to be
And then,
rich.
can I use half and half instead of milk? I have to wing this. I did not go shopping for this.
So
I
All right.
really don't know.
Is vanilla essence the same as vanilla extract? Or
I'm
is that the powdered stuff? Vanilla essence.
I thought that was just,
Extract is more concentrated.
Okay.
well, the only
Extract's
thing
more
we can get
concentrated?
is
I should use
liquid,
less maybe?
liquid.
At least here, if I buy vanilla extract, it's even the liquid, it's more espeso. How do you say
Thick?
espeso in
Thick, I think.
thick? Yes.
Yeah.
Thick. It's thicker.
Yeah.
Well, here it's
This one
very
is
liquid.
very
It's just like
liquid.
water.
Yes.
So are we adding more or less of the extract?
I think she
What's
said
the-
less.
And then I'm just gonna do a couple of teaspoons, heaping teaspoons instead of the egg of applesauce.
I think it's
Sure.
a half a cup per egg off the top of my head, but I can look on the internet.
All right, I'll give it a little bit more.
Anybody on here have internet? So let's see. 250 grams of flour is
I'm still chopping apples.
1.5 cups of flour. All right.
Oh, my timer went off.
Your power went off.
My timer.
Oh.
Don't look quite done. Maybe it's all the egg in mine.
It has to cook for a little longer.
No, but they don't get brown, or do they? On top.
Mine don't look brown. Mine
So
just
mine
look-
has been in there
No.
20 minutes.
I checked it with a toothpick, and I mean, it just looks like a white cake.
Yeah, I think it's done.
All right, I'm behind here. Let's see. I measured the flour, baking soda, baking powder. I don't know how I can be.
Now you can be what?
I don't know how I can be behind. There's. I just my.
I'm behind. I'm still chopping apples.
There they are. Can you guys see?
No,
Or am I not?
I think you have your camera off. Or
It
maybe
could
it's
be,
just,
it could be true. I've been on the recipe, so. There you go. Can you see
There
it?
they are. Yes.
So
Beautiful.
Canada says it's beautiful.
Yes, they look great.
And is the oven staying at the same temperature?
It is.
And then if I don't have a bundt cake, can I just use a, I guess this is a 9x9 Pyrex?
I think you'll have to cook it longer because you won't have as much metal surface. But
Mhm. Yeah, but in that case, you would only have to check not during the first half hour, but after the first half hour, you have to check how it's going. And the trick is always the putting a knife or a toothpick in the center and trying to and seeing if it still gets stained with the mix. If it comes out dry, then it's ready.
So should I like grease and flour whatever pan I'm using?
I just butter. With this recipe, I don't use flour on the mold, just butter.
Just
you
butter.
you butter the pan.
Yes. With this recipe, I'm just following it and it demolds easily, but you don't need to add flour in this one.
All right. So now I have to put sugar.
2 tablespoons of milk.
Going down. Oh, I probably should make sure I go down the whole list in order so I don't miss anything. So I am at vanilla. I skipped that one. Put that in the wet one.
Don't forget the vanilla.
Oops. All right. So far I've got almost all the dry. Now here it says 2 tablespoons of milk, and I had a really hard time like buying a whole thing of milk just for 2 tablespoons.
Oh
How-
no!
What did you use?
What
I
happened?
used white sugar instead of brown sugar. Gosh darn it! Oh
Now you-
wow!
no.
There we go.
No, but it doesn't matter.
If you've already put it in,
Yeah, I should
Um,
double check before I do all this.
well, let's see. Brown sugar, I mean, part of it is the flavor. So
Yeah.
you might want to add a little.
But there is granulated sugar and brown sugar, 3/4 of a cup of each.
Right.
Yes.
So,
Oh, huh. I'm good.
so is granulated sugar just regular sugar or is that powdered sugar?
Oh, I thought it's just
Regular
white
sugar.
sugar.
Just regular, I think.
Regular.
As I got both.
Whoever said that
Confectioner's
clarification-
sugar and all
So-
that.
Powdered is called confectioner's sugar, I
Yeah.
think also.
So I didn't mess up. I'm so excited.
What? Didn't mess up.
No, I just
You
Just
just
add
put
the
one
white
sugar,
now.
now you have to put the other sugar.
Mhm.
it's weird.
So-
I killed my computer, so that's why I'm just on my phone.
So I'm actually weighing things and then measuring them to see how much it compares. So 150 grams is
3/4
About-
cup.
about 3/4 of a cup. So
Is the flour 250 grams? Is that like 1 cup or more?
That was slightly under 2 cups.
Oh my God, no wonder my thing looks so, it's
Yeah, 200
looking like mostly apples. So I'm gonna add another cup of flour.
So yeah, 250 grams was like 1 3/4 cups.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I'm ready for the dry ingredients.
All right.
Dear,
Brown sugar.
I ran out of flour.
Oh,
You're gonna have just an apple cake. Yeah, the brown sugar, I mean, it seems like it's, as far as weight goes, it's a lot less. Let me see. I'll measure that in. That's about a cup of brown sugar then. So it's the same weight, but it's more dense.
My kind of sugar.
the last apple.
Add a little molasses to it. All right. So I've gone down the list. I've measured everything out except
And
milk,
nuts.
eggs, apples, and nuts. So milk, how necessary do you think the milk is? Should I open a can of milk?
I wouldn't open a whole can for a couple tablespoons.
Except the next recipe says in evaporated milk. So I have to open a can of evaporated milk for the caramel sauce.
Oh, okay, in that case.
I'll probably
go for
2
it.
cans because it says 1 3/4 cup. And so
Go for it.
I have to open a can of milk for that anyway, so. All right, 2 tablespoons. Well, I'm glad I didn't buy a whole thing. I was thinking.
You know what you could do, or you maybe already have, you could just have some powdered milk on hand.
Oh, I do.
For that occasionally.
So what I do, as far as milk goes, I have powdered milk, I have evaporated milk, and I have condensed milk.
Yeah, so you need 3 tablespoons, you just use a little powdered milk instead of opening a can.
I don't have to worry about.
So do I add my apples and my nuts to the cake mix?
To the dry one, to the dry ingredient.
Well, I already got it all mixed, so it's going in now.
Yeah.
Well, I have the wet in this bowl and the dry in this bowl. Except, all right, so that's, I feel like, I'm glad I bought 2 bags because I think 1 bag will be not enough. Because we need 1 cup. No, maybe. No, 1 bag's good enough.
1 cup.
All right. So everything is in the dry ingredients, except I feel like that's a lot of apples. That's 6 apples. Let's see, put the eggs. The only thing I have left is the eggs. Put that in the wet ingredient. All right. And as far as the caramel sauce, Isabel, you're being pretty quiet.
I was
much
reading
apples.
She was busy cutting her apples.
Too much apples to
Yes.
cut, huh?
I was reading the ingredients and, okay, I need to wait the flour now.
Yeah, I didn't. This time I'll remember to sift the flour into from the dry into the wet. So let's see.
And it's
If I, all right, so all the wet, oh wait. I know there was something I missed. Oil, a whole cup of oil.
Okay, but wait, don't add the oil yet.
Oh, okay. Well, no, I have the wet ingredients in this bowl and the dry one in this one.
So the oil's not part of the wet?
Yes, but that, at the beginning I said that I don't know this one by heart, and oil had to be added little by little, but I guess it's okay because the purpose is that it's not over mixed like with the cupcakes that I said that we shouldn't over mix it, but it's the same. The first time I did it, I mixed everything and it was fine. So, okay, 200.
Woohoo, that was perfect.
Baking powder, 1 teaspoon.
5 gallons of oil to the rescue. All right. So I won't pour the oil in, but I have it ready. Try to keep up with cleaning my cooking area. All right.
Baking powder, baking soda.
So I think with this one, I will use the hook. We've got the apples, or maybe I just made them too big. Let me chop them up a little more.
Salt, 1 tablespoon.
Do you mix all the dry ingredients with the apples before you add it to the wet ingredients?
Yes.
Okay. Because I've got it all in this bowl, but I think this would be fun to just put my hands in it. Oh, that smells really good, like all that sugar and cinnamon. This is like,
Three tablespoons of cinnamon.
this smells like Christmas, like you said.
Yes.
This is, I mean, this is almost like an apple pie, but as a cake.
I guess we don't need much apple pie here. Pineapple pie, and basically that.
Right. So, all right. Put it all in here. It doesn't seem like there's much flour like this. It's, for me, it just seems like a lot of apples and not much flour.
Yes. That's right. That's how it looks.
Okay. All right, so I haven't added any oil to it yet. Put it in my mixer. And this time I'm using the hook because it's pretty chunky instead of the beater. Let me put like 1/3 of the oil in. Just slowly add that oil in there because.
So what's the story about the oil?
What's that?
What's the story about the oil?
What? Like,
How do you know how much to put in? You say cup maximum, but you add it gradually?
yes, like you mix the sugar and the what was it? Let me check. I don't know this recipe by heart. That's the cupcake one. Hold on. Okay, so you mix the eggs with the sugar until for a little bit, and then the apples and cubes. Oh, and once you have mixed the sugar with the eggs, you add the oil in a stream. But as I said, the first time I mixed everything.
After all that talk, I was gonna sift all that dry ingredients. I didn't. Oh man. Like I never remember to sift the dry ingredients. I hope it's not clumpy. Luckily. Oh man. So I don't, well, there's enough oil in here. I don't think I have to oil this pan.
Yes, but yeah, I mean, the first time I didn't, and it was a bit tricky to get it off the mold, but it was fine.
All right. So I think I have too much for one. But luckily, I don't have enough for another. That's why I bought this little teeny one, because I always have extra. It always seems to be the case. I don't have enough for a whole nother one.
Yes, actually, this time I'm gonna try to make mini cakes in little molds that I bought this year. So hopefully it's gonna be fine.
I feel like this is a recipe that the caramel sauce, you can add alcohol of some sort, brandy or rum.
Yeah.
The
also
I've already
Yeah.
put mine in the oven. How
Oh.
long does it have to cook?
About 45 minutes.
Okay, thanks.
How long? How long? I didn't hear that.
45 minutes.
45.
Yes.
All right.
And if you want to check it, don't open the door during the first 30 minutes.
Okay.
All right. Question for everybody. Should I put the little one on the bottom shelf or the top shelf?
Bottom shelf, it's hotter on the top.
Just like, there you go. So, all right, I have mine in and 45 minutes timer set. And this looks clean, but anything outside the camera looks like a hurricane hit it.
Oh, I know.
So just, I'm gonna be quite honest with everybody. And then both sinks are full of big bowls. But I still have to make the caramel sauce. So, Isabel, you want to give us a quick pointer on the caramel sauce? And then if anybody has any questions, we'll wrap up the recording and then we'll hang out. I haven't decided what I'm going to cook for dinner. I don't think it should be cupcakes and apple cake. Probably should have something else.
Oh, why not? You only live once.
It's just like, well, I think you live a lot shorter if you eat a lot of that.
You've got nuts and eggs
Let's
there.
See. Well, if you put green apples, it's like vegetables, right?
Yes.
Just like, so. All right. Any tricks on how you make your caramel sauce?
Just be careful at the beginning. Just put the sugar and water just to cover the sugar and let it rest on low heat.
Well, you said water. You mean milk?
Yes.
So let's see.
No. First, the sugar is with the water.
The butter.
The
caramel is sugar and water.
Oh.
Water. Yes.
Water.
Just
there's
to
no
cover
water
the
on
sugar.
this recipe.
Because it's not measured. It's just to cover the sugar.
Okay. So I
Oh.
get the sugar, I put it in the pan, and then just cover it with just enough water to cover it
Cover the sugar
until I melt it and put the butter in.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
so let's see.
don't move the sugar, the caramel. Don't move it until it starts turning like caramel color, and then you add the butter.
So
And
you're
then-
talking about just 1 teaspoon of brown sugar in a pot with what? About a teaspoon of water?
And so she's browning the sugar.
But
Oh,
just
wait,
one,
it's
one-
1 teaspoon. It's not 1 teaspoon. I didn't notice that mistake. Hold on.
So 1 cup.
Yes, it's not 1 teaspoon.
There's 1 teaspoon of sugar. That's a mistake.
I was like, whoa.
Well, that'll be some good caramel. Let's see. All right. And this time my butter is room temperature, which the last one was not. And that's why room temperature butter is very much required when you're baking.
Yes.
So
How much sugar?
I'm looking for it. Hold on.
so how did your guys'
1 cup
cupcakes?
of sugar.
Okay,
1 cup of granulated or 1 cup of brown sugar.
Oh, look at that. It came out, look at on the bottom, it was a little brown. And then
Perfect.
that's just like perfect. Look at that.
All you need is a little chocolate frosting.
And then open
Yes.
it up. So
Wow.
even though the recipe seemed like it was thick, like a cookie, this is really like a fluffy.
Yes,
Hey.
that's because of the yogurt. It makes it
Oh,
fluffy.
that is good.
Yes.
Are you eating your cupcake?
Oh yeah, I mean, you didn't hear me. So I mean, this came out. This is like more like an angel food cake with chocolate chips in it.
What again?
It's just really light and fluffy.
Yes.
I was thinking it was going to be
Nope.
more of a thick, because like how thick it was when we were spooning it out, it felt like it was very much like cookie dough thickness.
Mhm. Yes,
Wow.
but
Now
the
I wish I
yogurt
had some milk.
doesn't-
All right. Cup of sugar. Just enough water to cover it.
And how big of a pan are you doing this in? Just a small saucepan?
Yes.
I don't
And you're
have much.
I mean, you're basically caramelizing the sugar.
Yes, the one Or has, I think it's good. You just have to pay attention to the caramel so it doesn't burn, but
Well, I haven't turned it on yet. I'm gonna add the water. So this was a cup of sugar and about a half a cup of water. All right, now I'll turn it on the lowest setting and don't stir it. I don't know how you tell it's caramelized though.
I need a spoon to use this.
All right. So, all right. If you guys don't mind, I think I want to wrap up this recording.
Well, wait a minute. We don't have the story about the car. Are you gonna turn it on again so we could have the instructions for the caramel?
No, Isabel, can you give us the instructions for the caramel again?
Yeah, I
And
think they are in the, didn't I send those? I
You
can send them,
just-
I have,
you just sent the ingredients list.
oh,
And so what you told me is you just put the sugar in a thin layer in a pan, and then you put enough water to just cover the sugar.
yes.
So for my pan, that was a cup of sugar and a half a cup of water covered it. And
Mhm.
now I've just got it at the lowest setting until the sugar all liquefies or
Yes, and it
caramelize.
starts to turn brown, but
Okay.
it takes time.
Yeah. So it would help if you started with brown sugar, right? But then you couldn't tell when it caramelizes.
Yes, I prefer making it with granulated sugar.
Yeah,
Because
because then
the
you
other
can
one is
tell when
already
it
like,
caramelizes. Yep.
yeah, the brown one has a taste to it. So I think, oh, my phone is gonna turn off.
So I have done caramel sauce like this, and it takes a long time.
What do you mean by a long time? Like the 45 minutes it takes to cook our apple cake?
Mm,
Make it while you're waiting for your cake to bake.
It was me. My phone went.
So does anybody have any questions for Isabel before I wrap it up? I am sweaty and I want to sit down and eat more cake.
Do you think you could make the caramel sauce? I have a question. I didn't buy evaporated milk, so I've just been thinking I won't have the caramel sauce. I'll just have the apple cake. But if you didn't have evaporated milk, do you think you could make caramel sauce with regular milk?
It would take forever.
Would it? Mm,
Yeah.
okay. Well,
Isabella, can you unmute your phone so we can talk?
Yeah, I thought I was unmuted.
Okay. So
Okay.
oh, wow.
So I'm still behind with
right.
the.
But let's wrap up the recording and talk about any questions that they have. I have my apple cake, just put it in the oven, and I started the caramel sauce, but it takes a while to do that. So I forget, what is it called in Mexico where they make the milk and they just keep cooking it until
Dulce de leche?
Yeah.
That's made with condensed milk, isn't it?
I mean, it helps if you get the condensed milk because it's already been condensed, but that's basically a caramel sauce, right?
Mm-hmm.
You just keep reducing it down. And that's basically what this is you get milk and sugar and you just keep simmering it to reduce it down. So
Here we call it manjar.
Okay.
Manjar.
Yes.
And how long does it take, you think, to cook it down? Mine's actually, I've got it at the lowest setting and it's actually starting to slightly steam. Like I literally, you can't see it, but I mean, my fire is like as low as it goes. And I can literally see a little bit of steam coming off of it. But it's going to take a while. So
yes, it takes a while.
So you started making this cake, you said, for Christmas.
Yes.
Yeah. And I really like it in the bundt because you're going to have a lot more crispy surface. You have all that oil in there, and you have a lot more crispy surface. This reminds me very much of a Caribbean rum cake where you make the cake and then you make the caramel sauce to pour on it to soak into the cake. Is that what you're going to do with this?
Yes, you put it on the cake, and depending on how much it cook the mix after you put the evaporated milk, it will be more liquid or it turns into hard candy.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's the tricky part.
With the
I don't
Caribbean
know
rum
if that's
cake,
good.
you make the cake pretty crispy, and the fried absorbs it, and then it's no longer as crispy on the outside.
Yes. And it's actually better if you prepare it the night before, because that happens overnight. So the cake absorbs the caramel sauce.
Okay. So, anybody
prefer
have
it.
any final questions for? Thank you for logging in from Ecuador to share us with this. And I've been on my feet for, I don't know. I left the house at 7:30 this morning, so I worked all day. So I'd like to wrap up. Anybody else have any questions, Lulu?
No, just thank you. And I might have a little bit too much water in with the sugar. Is that going to impact it?
No, it just takes longer. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
I
just
always put too much water in the sugar. But
Yes,
it's
it's
just,
good.
Water will boil off.
but all right. And
Thank you
I've
for
already had
having
one
me.
of my cupcakes. Did anybody else have a cupcake?
I have
It's
not.
very much like a sponge cake. I was expecting it to be more like a cookie, like more dense, but mine was very, very light and fluffy.
All right.
Yes,
I will go
it's
ahead and
light.
try one of mine.
You
Smells good.
just like,
And
all
it
right.
looks like all cakey.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not bad. It's
Isn't it
good.
nice how soft it is? I was, how dense it was, and when I was pouring it into the cupcake thing, I thought it would be more cookie-ish.
Other than that, yours came out nice, Lulu. I like why they kind of rose up a little and they made a little thing around the tin.
Yeah,
Yes.
I filled them almost
I
all the way.
I'd rather have them overflowing than not overflowing.
Yeah. So, yeah, both of you, I didn't do that. So next time I'll be less nervous about filling it up higher and make the more like the muffin top.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yes.
So,
Yes, like a muffin. Mhm.
Plus
All
the top
right.
gets a little crustier sometimes. Cooks a little more.
All right. Final call for questions.
No, just
All right.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I was so nervous because I don't know, I have a hard time baking because I like to watch things while I'm making it. So thank you for really pushing me outside my comfort zone. And I think I learned some things. So.
Oh, thank you for having me. I hope you enjoy the cupcakes and the other cake too.
Oh, I already
Thank you
enjoyed
very
one.
much.
I enjoyed one.